Your debut?
Yeah, we're ready for your debut. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Unruly Duo. I am Brandi,
I am Jenn.
and this is Rue. He's the best boy that's ever had.
Yes. He's
So,
our third co-host for
yes,
today.
yes.
He has a lot to say.
Yes, it all involves squirrels and cats and birds. I know. I know. We're saying words you understand.
Trees.
Yes. Oh my goodness. All righty. So, there's been a lot of, yeah, you want to go down? Oh my goodness. And there goes our co-host.
Yeah.
Dinner time for the co-host.
He quit. He's
Yes.
like, whatever. I can't do this anymore.
And so, it's been another, this is turning into a news discussion. It's been another rough week, in the news cycle. I think the biggest thing, kind of relevant to what we're going to talk about is the release of 3 million documents of the Epstein files, which are half the amount of documents. There's 6 million total. These should have been released over a month ago. They are heavily redacted, but the parts that aren't redacted are
Re-traumatizing the survivors. It's exactly what
utterly,
it's doing.
utterly abhorrent. Utterly abhorrent. And I personally want to address something right off the top. Is I've already seen some discourse saying, we'll wait till we see the evidence, or why is it still being talked about? These documents are evidence. These are eligible as evidence in a court of law that are gathered by the current administration's Department of Justice. So the people that this current administration hired have access to these documents, consider them legal evidence. And so things like emails and text messages and all those sorts of things, that is evidence, that is proof of the things that happened on this island. So you can say whatever you want or feel however you want about that, just because it is not, evidence in that somebody from the DOJ saw somebody doing something. That is not the only form of evidence that is legally admissible in court and is legally valid. And so you get to choose how you want to deal with that information and how that makes you feel about people, but it's evidence. It's real evidence from the Department of Justice that details in way more detail than I don't know about you, but that I really ever wanted to know.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrific things. And then, sort of dovetailing, you recently found out that in your specific community of jiu-jitsu, do you want to kind of talk about what has just broken?
Yeah.
Today, is it just today?
As far as I know, I think it's just today. I'm just now hearing about it today. Somebody had made it or asked me underneath one of my posts what I thought about the Atos stories, or I think that's how you say it, ATOS. It's a jiu-jitsu association, and the man at the top is being accused of sexual harassment.
Multiple counts, correct?
Yes. And I was asked, what do I think about the accusations and the lack of evidence? And because a lot of people were saying, well, there's no evidence because it's just women coming and speaking up forward. So somebody asked me about it, which I could not respond because I had no idea what they were talking about. So I had to go and do my own research. But I mean, it's more than one woman, just like the Epstein files. And, it's like, at what point are we going to actually start listening to thousands of women speaking up? Their stories are different, but they're all the same. That's how you know.
Yep.
They're all the same. They're consistent across time. That is the main thing to look for. And they also have a lot to lose. When survivors speak out, We don't have anything to gain from it. What we're looking
As you well learn,
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
you
I
get
did not gain anything.
right.
I gained a lot of frustration
Yep,
is what I gained.
yep.
And even more, scrutiny and shame, and, I lost my family through this whole
Lost a lot of
ordeal.
money, you
I
lost
lost a
your
lot of
home,
money, my home, my
your
business,
business,
everything.
a lot of friends, a community,
Mhm.
so and they will too, more than likely they will too,
They're gonna
because
get harassed.
they're gonna get ostracized.
Yeah.
And so if this is I have I will say this, if this is new allegations
Mhm.
and somebody saying there's no evidence, there may not be evidence yet.
Yeah.
Usually it's gotta start with an allegation so that,
An investigation
and it
can
yes,
occur.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I will say this, if an investigation is taken on, that means that the allegations are, um, that law enforcement or whoever is handling the investigation thinks they're valid enough to pursue an investigation. So, for example, Jen has some legal stuff that she's doing, and the reason it's being pursued is she was able to provide enough of her own documentation and her um, relay enough of her own perspective and experience in events that the people that she was relaying it to took it seriously and said, "This sounds like something we can pursue."
Yeah.
They would not pursue otherwise. So, they would, I
It
mean,
would have been close cut.
it
Oh,
would
this
have
is
been
just some
closer
random
to
hacker. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's so easy in this day and age to track down somebody who hacked your email. You know what I mean? Like it's not a shut and open shut case. If it was, it'd be over by now. It's been 6 months. So
And, I to your point, I think it is just so frustrating, your personal experience, not only your personal experience, but what you see in other trauma survivors is like, no matter how loud you scream,
yeah,
they continue to be, you continue to be dismissed,
mhm.
and because
Discredited.
discredited,
Yeah,
and I think a lot of it is because people say, "Well, we don't have any evidence." Just because your eyeballs did not see something does not mean there's no evidence or that it didn't happen. Like, utterly flabbergasted, um, I am utterly flabbergasted by that response.
yeah. Because so I specialize in women's self defense. I've been studying predators for over a decade. I wrote a book about covert abuse,
What's
and
it called and where can you find
it's
it?
called Unmasking Hidden Harm, and you can find it on Amazon or at the link in my bio in my Instagram.
Yeah.
So I'll keep this story short, but predators and abusive people know exactly what they're doing. They're very calculated. This was in the 90s, there was a serial rapist. And what he would do, he would sit out in his car in parking lots and he would wait hours. He said sometimes like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day waiting for his perfect target because they're looking for a very specific person. Okay. And once he found that target, he would approach her with a knife, have her take off all her clothes, and make her get into his car. And he said he made them take off their clothes so that they wouldn't run away because he knows what kind of person, like, target this is, right? He's going to scare them into um, uh, freezing, basically. And they're naked. So, of course, now they're definitely not going to go
Right.
run around screaming naked. So, he had 3 locations set up, and he would go to these locations with his target and have his way with them, right? One thing that he said in this interview is he never hurt them. That means he did not punch them, he didn't kick them, he didn't leave any marks, right? And so just because there wasn't any marks left on her and she can't, if she goes and tells someone about it, like, and there's no marks on her, but it definitely happened,
Mhm.
but you're going to say, "Oh, I don't believe you." I don't believe you. I don't see any proof. There's
Right.
no, you know what I mean? It's like these predators and uh abusers, narcissists, whatever you want to call them, they intentionally make it to where you cannot prove what they're doing, right? They make it you either seem so absurd that nobody believes you, or they are so calculated that they can plan ahead to where there's no actual evidence, right? It's called was it plausible deni-
Plausible deniability.
plausible deniability.
And I guess I would open this up to the audience, anybody listening. Um, I would like to have a conversation about this more than just myself and Jen. I would like to have a conversation with anybody. Like, what would it take? What would it take if you are somebody who tends to disbelieve these reports, um, to believe them? Uh, Statistically, we've already said, and you can find this information, it's very easy to find. Statistically, it is very unlikely that women fabricate, when they say they've been assaulted. That is like, I think it's like 2% of
It's like
all,
2 to 10.
right, of all assault,
And you have to think,
allegations.
yeah, and you have to think of like the billions of people on this
Right.
planet and how many um reports have been made, and 2 to 10% of
Right.
that.
Right. Are false. So it's statistically very unlikely. Like, it is statistically uh in your favor to believe somebody when they come forward. It is much more likely that they are telling you the truth. Um Evidence, as I alluded to, or I mentioned earlier with the Epstein, does not legally need to be somebody eyewitnessing. There's all sorts of evidence that is legally valid evidence. And so I would say, I guess I would ask, like, what is the resistance? Please be honest. I want to listen and understand, what is the resistance to to believing a woman when she comes forward with assault of any sort, allegations. And I would also like to know, I would love a conversation on, do we think that's changing? Do we think there's anything that could cause a change? Like, what does it take? Is it the only way? Is that just a human brain thing? Is the only way we're going to keep banging our heads against this? Because the only way people believe is if they see it with their own eyes. Is that it? Like, we can't.
Even when they see it with their own eyes,
A lot of times
they
people
a lot of
dismiss.
times they will dismiss it, and I personally think that it has more to do with people taking accountability for their participation, or for them turning a blind eye, for them, being manipulated by the abuser, right? For them to come out and say, "Oh, I was manipulated by this person. I believed everything that they said, and I was wrong. They actually did do what she said he did." Like, that's very hard for people to do. And so instead of doing that,
Double down.
they'll double down. And because for some reason people just don't understand how much growth we could experience individually as the person taking accountability, and also as a society if we could just be like, wow, I was wrong, this happened to me.
Right.
Because these people that are, especially the people that have power, that are manipulating and abusing men, women, and children
Yes.
across the
Yep.
board,
Yep.
they are the most manipulative
Yes.
human beings walking the face of this earth. They're so manipulative, and we don't give ourselves enough credit when we are manipulated by them,
Right.
because we're thinking, a lot of times I think people might blame themselves because they were
I
manipulated by this
I
person.
feel so stupid. I feel so taken. Because people are gonna judge me. People are gonna think I'm stupid.
Right.
People are gonna think, and you're putting that judgment on yourself, and you're anticipating the judgment that other people will put on you as well.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That actually happened with the Nixium cult. The whistleblowers have been in for 12 years. They had sunk thousands of dollars and years of their lives into this cult. They were abruptly woken up, and they talked about how, uh, about the shame around it, about the frustration, about the severe dismay in realizing that they had been kind of been taken by a con man. They talked about feeling dumb and feeling, that we're, and talked about how people saw them. And I will say this, in that particular case, this is an extreme case. That man was found guilty of a lot of things and was sentenced to 120 years. They were ultimately vindicated, and the people that doubled down on him and said, no, he's really a good person. These, all the excuses that you hear that they're making it up and it didn't happen to me and blah, 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 have kind of been forgotten about and, just really disempowered. And it's the people who were brave enough to swallow it and swallow their pride and say, I was conned, but now I want to do the right thing, have been lifted up and are now more successful and have been able to really craft a much better, more empowered, more visible life because they were willing to say, we saw this and we decided to do the right thing once we woke up. And one thing they talk about is you're not stupid. One thing you've talked about is narcissists, predators, the example you just gave. They don't go after dumb people. They actually don't. They go after charismatic people, smart people, well-read people, energetic people because they want those traits.
They
And
lack those traits in themselves.
yes, and so that's what they want. And they are master manipulators. And we, until a few years ago, when a lot of this stuff started coming to light, Me Too and kind of that thing, didn't know what signs to look for because we didn't have a language for this. We didn't have an awareness of this as a society, and now we do, which means you are not dumb if you get taken in by somebody. You're probably a good, trusting, well-meaning person that they saw something and they saw that and they know how to manipulate it and use it and take it. And it behooves us all to realize that we are in the right and we are the good. It is not shameful. It is never shameful to, whenever we wake up from something, to say, okay, I woke up. I see this for what it is. I'm not going to continue to go down this negative path now that I know I'm going to do the right thing.
Right. I like how you put negative path because just think, let's say that what they're saying is true about this person and you double down. You're like, you're going to just stay over here with them. Like, which direction are you going to go? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's just, do you want to go forward or do you want to continue to backpedal? Because that's what's happening. Like, that's what we're seeing. And it's the people that get manipulated, a lot of times, like you said, they're very intelligent, but they also are very empathetic
Mm-hmm.
and they have the ability to self-reflect, right? So when something comes up, maybe it's like an argument or a disagreement or something you're just not comfortable with, you will internalize it, try to, make sense of it. And then a lot of times that person can kind of turn everything around on you, right?
Yes.
Or turn it around
Yes.
on other
Yes.
people
100%.
to get the attention off of this, right? And so, but what we don't realize is this person lacks the ability to self reflect.
Yep.
But because we can and because we have empathy, we assume so does that person.
Yes.
And a in all of these situations, there is no empathy. I don't even want to say a lack. Like there is
Right.
zero empathy. Although you will see these people perform empathy
Yes.
because they have studied people who
Yes.
have empathy,
Yes.
and that's how
They're
they
playing a game. They're playing a
exactly.
role. Yes. I'll just say this. I may get some flack for this because it's kind of an extreme, may seem like an extreme example, but to be honest, based on what we're seeing in reality and news and in the world, it's not. It's the same thing. Um, in World War II, after the Nazis were defeated, they had the Nuremberg trials, which is where a lot of the players, big players, in Hitler's armies, were on trial for what they did. And a lot of them said, most of them said, I was just following orders. And they were convicted because that's not an excuse. There was a lot of people who just said, I just assumed the best. I didn't know. I didn't see it myself. And that was not good enough. In history looks poorly on that group of people with good reason. And what we are seeing in, maybe you think, person watching this, that I'm making an unfair comparison. I know, based on my understanding of human nature, narcissism, abuse, systemic power, etc., that I'm not. This is the same thing. What we're seeing in Minnesota is the same thing. What we're seeing in the Epstein files is the same thing. What we're seeing in the corruption, apparently in some systems of jiu-jitsu,
Yep.
is the same thing.
What happened to me is the same thing.
Is the same thing.
Yeah.
On varying levels to varying degrees.
Well, it depends on how much power you have in
Right.
the world.
Right.
Really. I
Yep.
mean, it's the same tactics, just use, these people up here have way more power, way more money. That's the only difference.
And siding with the abusers and the systems is, history's not going to look kindly on it, because we know right from wrong.
If there's anyone out there who knows of a woman or a group of women who have accused somebody of harming her in any kind of way, that it was proven that she was lying. If you can give me one example of
I don't know.
one person
Right. Yep.
ever
Yep.
in our history, or in, just the media in general, right? Because it would be a huge news headline, right? And we would be comparing that
To that example.
forever. Like when Britney Spears shaved her head off, her hair off, everybody compares me shaving my head off to that.
Yes.
So if there was one case out there that was on such a grand scale, not even grand scale, small scale, or just anybody in your personal life, do you know someone who has gone as far as to accusing somebody publicly, filing police reports, hiring lawyers, and accusing someone of something that was falsified? I mean, if you know anyone, right, or could think of a story where that happened, right, then I can maybe see where you're coming from, where you're like, you rather believe the person that's being accused, because how many times in history have we done that and then turned around and found out that those people did exactly what the survivors said they did? Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, P. Diddy, Jeffrey Epstein, like the list goes on.
Yep.
And it's like, when are we going to start believing women or survivors in general?
Yes.
When they speak out first? When are we going to start believe, okay, I'm going to believe what she said.
Right.
This person, it's their job to defend themselves, right? And say that, what they're saying is not true. Prove it.
Yeah.
Right? If they didn't do it, it's going to be very easy to prove that they did not do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Which probably brings us to Darvo.
Yes. So there is would you call it a system, a method
Tactic.
that narcissists, predators, manipulators use, that we now have language for, and there is an acronym for it. It's DARVO. And Jenn's going to take us through what that stands for, how they use it.
So DARVO, DARVO. It's deflect. Hold on, now I'm on the spot.
Don't you have it on your phone?
I do, but I actually do know it in my head. But I did write it down for this. Attack. Deny, attack, reverse victim offender. Yeah. So the first thing they're going to do is deny it.
Of course. I didn't do it.
Right, I didn't do it. Then, so D, A, they're going to attack. That means they're going to attack the other person's character. They're crazy, they're unstable, they're a liar, they're this,
also
they're that.
Legally, cease and desist orders a lot of times.
Right. They're gonna, if they have money and they have power, they could use the legal system to attack that person into basically to make them look bad, to ruin their reputation, and to overpower them in such a way that they shut down. And that happens all the time. Um, so reverse, right? So they're going to reverse victim and offender, which means they reverse the roles. So because they were able to attack this person, and so much so that this person, now everything that every reaction that they have, they're going to use it against them, right? And now it reverses the roles to where the offender is the victim, and now the victim, it looks like the offender, but it's because of the tactics that were done in the beginning, right? So in my instance, like, I was destabilized for months on end, right? And my reactions to prolonged violations and abuse was used against me to call me unstable and mentally ill, that I needed to be locked up in a mental institution. So when people saw that, they can kind of flip it around and be like, "Oh, she's attacking him. She's trying to ruin his life, blah 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 blah," right? And so it's just basically a tactic to where they deny and attack, they reverse roles, because what they're doing is doing everything they possibly can to make sure the attention is not on them, that the attention is on the other person.
Yes.
Because as long as the attention's on the other person, they don't have to defend themselves.
Yes.
And that's Darva.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say that in your case, the specific instance, this is textbook tactics. The playbook it's gone by the playbook.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what they're doing with the Epstein files.
Right.
Deny, attack, reverse, because I mean, yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing right now. They're denying it, and they're attacking the media, or they're attacking people that are actually speaking up. Of course, they've been attacking the survivors and the women
Well, now they're arresting,
journalists.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So because they're arresting a journalist, which does what? Flips the role. It makes them the victim and that person the offender.
Right.
Right.
And it also scares other journalists into if you like, "Oh, I don't wanna get arrested,"
Right.
just like people in Minnesota, these tactics scare people, to where they don't wanna go to work, they don't wanna leave their
They want to
house, and
speak
so
up.
they don't wanna speak up, um because they could then end up getting, well, in the case of Minnesota, we don't know where a lot of these people are ending up. That's the problem.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
could get erased in a sense.
Yeah.
And
And nothing would be done about it.
yes.
Yeah. And so over time, and going back to, you know, when women speak up against powerful men, we have a lot to lose. A whole lot to lose. And so over time, we have these powerful men, right, have conditioned us and taught survivors of abuse to be silent, because it's dangerous to speak up. So when we speak up, we are putting ourselves in danger. And then for us not to be believed, it is like it's so frustrating. And right now, survivors of abuse, like across the board, are just like, I there's not even I there since all this happened to me, I have felt this feeling that I have never felt in my entire life. This like deep, deep frustration that I can feel inside of my whole body. Right? It's like the inside of my body like solidifies. It's a deep frustration. And I know that all of the survivors are looking at all of this, and that's how they're feeling, because it's like, we are telling the truth. We shouldn't have to prove ourselves. Our lives are already in danger.
Yeah.
And it's I really, really, really hope that, since all of this is being exposed, that people will start to come around and at least start believing a woman when she speaks up, especially against a powerful man, first, before flipping the script.
And this doesn't really, this doesn't probably comfort a lot of people. But for example, Harvey Weinstein, actresses spoke up forever,
Years.
years.
Yeah.
He ruined careers. left, right, and center. And eventually they were believed and he was convicted.
And Jeffrey Epstein was convicted. He was in
Yes.
prison when he
Yes.
was set free to wherever he's living now.
Jenn believes Jeffrey Epstein.
The day it happened, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah. So Bill Cosby, same thing. People had been accusing him for years. R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
I think, were there allegations against P. Diddy for years, or they didn't really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were dismissed, swept under the rug, et cetera, et cetera. Eventually it comes to light, though. Well, and actually, P. Diddy's isn't over, because apparently, from what 50 Cent has been saying, there's all sorts of court cases he's helping fund.
Oh yeah.
So there's more to come there, apparently, allegedly.
Most people believe that we're gonna go to this cloud palace in the sky, and maybe that's true.
Do you want to know my theory of what happened when I took you down?
Yes.
So this is shout out to my friend Lindsay. This is really her, but I wholeheartedly believe this. So she and I hold the view that once you go on, you get to zoom around the universe.
You get the zoom
and you get to see all the other planets. You get to see this whole vast universe. You get to go to all the different planets. Mm-hmm. And we have a theory. So both my friend Lindsay and I are entrenched in corporate America. And we think that on every planet that humans or human-like or human equivalent life has taken hold, is that we've all figured out a way to ruin our lives with Excel. With Excel. And this will only make sense to people who know Excel, but on this planet, it's some if, on a different planet, it's if some, on another planet, it's something else, but we've all managed to ruin our lives with Excel. We could be in paradise, but we all managed
I could see that.
To create this hellscape.
I could see that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Spreadsheets.
Yes. Yes. And so that is our lecture. That is our TED Talk. But
yeah, one thing I will say, and because we live in Oklahoma and this is the Bible Belt state, is what, we've always been called. Lots of religions live here. And, a lot of people think, oh, you have to be good to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell. Okay, great. Believe that, whatever you want. But I'm not religious. I didn't even go to church growing up. I wasn't raised in a church. But I do believe that what Jesus was teaching was to be like him.
Yes.
Be Christ-like.
Yes.
Not
worship him.
Not worship him, but also not be a good person according to your definition. And treat people just any kind of way. Like, I remember when they had those bracelets when we were kids, it said, what would Jesus do? What would he do? What would Jesus do? Would he believe?
Not side with the pedophiles.
What would he do? So if you're a religious person, I'm just saying, ask yourself, what would Jesus do in this situation? If you're not religious, then
listen, I think we're dancing around this. I think
a lot of people use religion and a lot of people also think this is like the end of the world and Jesus is coming back, and if he does, what do you think he would do?
Like she said, we're in Oklahoma. I'm probably going to get some grief for this. I know plenty of people who consider themselves to be good Christians who also voted for the current administration. And I just want to say this. I'm not asking you to stop your religious beliefs. I'm not asking you to stop your political affiliation. I'm not. I'm saying that the person running this administration also doesn't have your political affiliation. He's just a grifter. And he's a bad person and a pedophile, which is proven out in documents. And if you do believe in your faith, you will not agree and side with this person. You can't. He's a terrible person. He's not a terrible person because he is a certain political affiliation. He's a terrible person because he's a terrible person. You can still be your political affiliation and your faith and denounce when you see terrible people doing terrible things.
Yeah. Correct. And a lot of people are, well, where's the proof? The proof is that
in 6 million documents with the DOJ.
Not even that. But it's like Epstein was in prison for these crimes, right? Tell me, if you knew Epstein, right? And you are a powerful man, why would you be wanting to take pictures with that person? Why are there so many pictures of you and that person like you didn't know? People knew. They've been talking about this. Women and survivors have been trying to speak up for decades about these powerful men and what's been going on. And just like Hollywood, like with P. Diddy, the people in Hollywood knew. They already knew, right? So you can't act like Donald Trump didn't know what Epstein was doing, or all these other powerful men that you see in pictures with him, that they didn't know who he was and what he was doing.
Listen, this is not the same, but I loved The Cosby Show. It was a cornerstone of my growing up. I love The Cosby Show.
I loved R. Kelly music. Loved it.
It was incredibly distressing and disheartening to realize somebody I looked up to and somebody I enjoyed and appreciated. I listened to his comedy albums. At one point I had them memorized. I'd listened to them so many times.
Yeah.
That I had idolized might be too strong a word, but really looked up to and really liked to realize that they were a really terrible person. That doesn't feel good. It's called cognitive dissonance, when what you think is happening, what's actually happening, you can't square the two. It's not a great feeling. You be an adult and you say, it's not a great feeling, but now that I have this information, I have to face that. I have to face that and go, well, okay, I'm not going to continue to support that behavior.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, okay, Cosby Show was off the air for a long time before you, but I don't participate in that person's output anymore. You don't participate in R. Kelly's music anymore.
As soon as I saw the documentary, I have never listened to R. Kelly one time, and I love R&B, and I thought he was just one of the greatest singers and R&B artists of all time, and I will not ever listen to another one of his songs again. But and I also think too, like a lot of times, because me leaving relationships with people who end up being just absolute horrible humans. In the beginning, I didn't think that they were. And so one of the hardest parts about leaving someone like that is once you leave the relationship, right? Or whatever the situation or whatever the case may be, workplace, whatever. That mask will completely drop. And you're going to look at this person and you're going to say, I have no idea who you are. Because the person that they had been pretending to be for however long is not who they are. And for us to have to then go back and unravel all the little tiny things that happened to us that manipulated us in such a way that, we were fooled. It's such a, it's just a hard thing to grasp and process. And I think a lot of times I think we talked about this last week. We are so comfortable. We want to be comfortable all the time. And it's just uncomfortable
It's very
think
disheartening.
that the people that we look up to and a lot of people idolize people, stop idolizing people, but some people
any person.
Yeah, anybody. But people do. And it's just very hard for them to imagine that the person that they've known all these years
It can be heartbreaking. Absolutely.
is a horrible, horrible person who is actually harming them. And,
and you raise a good point. So narcissists and predators, they do have a mask on and they have tactics. Nobody walks up to somebody and on the first day says, children.
No.
So there's books on it, there's podcasts on it, you can look it up. It's so common tactics are love bombing. One of the things they do is
future faking.
Yes, and a lot of what they do is
politics. Future faking, right? Future faking is just, I'm going to do this. I'm going to end world hunger. I'm going to give you free healthcare. I'm going to do this. But in relationships, it's like, oh, we're going to
We're gonna take a trip.
We're gonna take a trip, and then
I'm gonna get you a ring.
yeah, and
Yep.
we're gonna go shopping. I'm gonna we're gonna get married and
Yeah.
have kids and blah blah blah. All the while, they have no intentions on
Right.
doing that whatsoever.
But and also you're so you know love bombing in a lot of different forms. You're amazing. You're wonderful. In an organization, you'd be a huge get for the
And in the beginning, they do that. They'll do those things, right? Until they don't.
and in the midst of that, what they do is they immediately start weakening your natural boundaries and intuition. So, for example, a lot of times in cults, one of the first things they do is start presenting opportunities to invite you or to give examples of how you can't trust your intuition. So a lot of times, like in self-development cults, the way they do that at the top is they say self-development is supposed to be uncomfortable. So in some of our teachings, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you're growing. You should embrace that. Actually what they are doing is slowly disintegrating your boundaries. And then you get deeper and deeper and deeper. By the time you realize that these people or person or organization is not what you thought they were, your boundaries have been disintegrated. You have spent so much time being told to deny your intuition, deny your gut, deny your boundaries, and you've put in time and effort and emotions and relationships into it that by the time you realize you're way deep in, and it's really hard to dig your way out.
Hmm. And when we put people up on a pedestal and we idolize them and you know, view them as being superior or knowing more than we do, we're going to believe everything that person says. So if something happens to us and we speak up, hey, that's not right, that feels weird, I don't like that or something, it's fine, it's normal, don't worry
Right,
about it.
right.
Don't be
And
so
that
uptight. If
person
you're
and this I know better than you, or this person
yeah,
knows better than
so in
us.
our minds, we're like, okay, they know more than I do. They're
Yes,
smarter than I am.
yes,
So they must know what they're talking about and I don't. Because I went through that. Like I was, you know, I kind of looked at I grew up thinking I was stupid. So I really thought everybody was smarter than me. And so it was like when I, you know, what if I had needs or I would get upset about something and I would be called crazy, well, then I had no other reason to believe that I wasn't because I felt, well, this person is smarter than me. They know more than me. So I guess they're right. I am crazy. And so it's like a lot of times these people in power, because we look up to them, whatever they say goes. And I think that's another issue that we're having too is we give people too much power
right,
in that sense.
right. None of us, any of us, the people I love, the people you love, the teachers I've been to, the teachers you've been to, the organizations are worth um, a pedestal because we're all humans and we're
Yes.
all infallible and we all have blind spots and we all have benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's number one. And number two, if you feel taken by somebody, take your shame out of it. Um, we're human.
Yeah.
Take your shame out of it of being taken or manipulated. Um, realize that you're a human and that they wouldn't have done it if there wasn't something good in you to manipulate. But don't make it worse. Don't dig a hole by doubling down and sticking with that person or that organization.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of us have been broken down by these types of people because what these people do is they climb their way to the top. And so that's kind of what's happened. And because we have all given them the power to what we've given our power away to them because we have internalized these messages that we aren't as good as they are.
Yeah.
We aren't as smart as they are. And when you internalize that, then you give your power away.
Yeah.
And in a sense, you're unable to really get to know who you are as a person, so then it's even harder for you to speak up for yourself and stand up for yourself if you don't even know your own truth.
Okay.
How are you supposed to stand up for yourself or other people,
Okay.
if you let them kind of navigate your beliefs and, the way you think about
Okay.
yourself.
And I will say this, if you're in I think we have all been in some sort of unhealthy relationship, a working relationship, a teaching student relationship, a personal romantic relationship,
Family.
we all know we all can look back, especially if we're a certain age, and go, yeah, that was not healthy. Um, for whatever reason, right? So in the scenario that we're talking about, you are a good person with uh, flaws and benefits and good things and things you need to work on. And if you get manipulated by somebody, if the reason it's a unhealthy relationship is because you were manipulated by somebody and taken advantage of by somebody, you are still a good, worthy person.
Mhm.
Unless once you realize it and realize they're a bad person, you keep siding with the bad person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you don't get an excuse.
Yeah, there's no excuse. And I will also say this too. As a survivor, I've been through this so many times. For almost 20 years, I have battled with not being believed. And so this is not new to me. But I will tell you this. The people that, you know, didn't believe me, but then saw that I was telling the truth and then came to me with, whatever, I believe you, or just a tiny anything of support, it's going to be well received by us, right? But not if you stay on that side. Like if you stay on that side, you're on that side. You can still come over to this side. Like we're going to, because we understand. Like we know why you're over there if you're not one of them. Right? We understand that. I think a lot of times people are also afraid to cross over that bridge because they're afraid that we're now
Right. Gonna be
going to we're going to attack them
Yep.
in some sort of way,
Yep.
because they may have attacked us. And so that's another thing. A lot of people think that people are going to react to things the way that they react to things, but we all react to things differently.
Mhm.
So if that happens where you change your mind, it is, I think it's very important for you to come forward and just make sure that these survivors and people that are struggling right now, even if it's something that happened to them a long, long time ago, because all of this is in the news cycle and in our faces right now. Like we will isolate ourselves and we will sit and we will ruminate in it because we were taught to go through this by ourselves.
Mhm.
And so instead of talking to it about other people, we will will shut down. And so the more you can kind of help us not do that, the better. And so we're going to welcome you if you want to come back
Yep.
over here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And so we've been talking about organizations in general. We've been talking about political organizations, cults, um, personal relationships.
Oh wait, can I back up a little bit?
Absolutely.
I say that you're welcome back over here. Not if you harmed me or betrayed me or destroyed my life in any way, you can't come back. Okay. I'm just saying if you were just on the side of that person and you didn't believe a survivor for whatever reason and you feel like you can't.
The actual abuser's not welcome on that.
Yeah,
We're
I just want to
talking-
clarify. But if you feel like, like you didn't believe them in the beginning, but you do now, and you feel like you shouldn't say anything, you should. You
Yeah,
definitely should. Even if you didn't believe them in the beginning,
yeah,
it will be well received.
I
Like,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And not just you personally, uh, from your understanding and your experience with other survivors, and what we've also seen from other survivors talking about this, it with in general, survivors will appreciate, even if it's not you reaching out to them personally, survivors will appreciate and not lash out at somebody just going, I believe this person.
I believe you now.
Right. And now I
I
understand.
or I support you now, or
Right.
some,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we will not get upset about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot. Like I said, we've covered a lot of different examples of how this is in play in the world. Um, One of the examples you had mentioned that you just found out about today was an example in the jiu-jitsu community.
Mhm.
And um, you are not the only woman beginning to speak out about your experiences as a woman in the jiu-jitsu community and how unsafe it can be. Is
Mhm.
that a fair thing to say?
Yes.
Um, and so one of the things that you and I have talked about doing is, um, and eventually these will be in person, women's only jujitsu.
Mhm.
So if you are a woman in jujitsu who has uh, felt unsafe or uncomfortable,
Or quit
or
because you were assaulted, harmed, bullied in any kind of way, and no one believed you, and you were pushed out of your gym, or you didn't feel safe training and you quit,
yeah,
or you don't feel
a lot of if your understanding is a lot of women just quit silently. They just stop.
correct.
They don't say anything. They just don't go anymore.
So today, a woman said underneath one of my posts on Instagram, she said, "A man in the BJJ community tried to unalive me. No one believed me. They made me out to be a problem, so I quit."
Yes.
And the that exact same thing happened to me. But this is not the first time that I've heard this from a woman. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I can't prob dozens. I wanna say dozens and
Just
dozens and
you
dozens of
personally.
women personally that I have encountered,
Yes.
right? Um, and I know women that are of high ranking that don't train because of the way that they have been treated by the men in the
Yeah.
community.
So, and with this new allegation,
Yeah.
there are more and more allegations coming out about this specific community.
And
Um,
this isn't new in jujitsu, like, this happens, I mean, it seems like at least once a year.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so
Yep.
it's this isn't something
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
So, if you are a woman in jujitsu and you don't feel comfortable or have left or been attacked or afraid of being attacked or been harassed, if you're a woman who would like to be in jujitsu, but you just don't feel comfortable because you see things in the news or you've heard of a bad experience or you don't feel comfortable with the dynamic, Jen will be leading virtual women's only jujitsu classes.
Mhm.
Um, we'll be meeting on Zoom. I will be her assistant. We will, so this is a situation where it's best if you have a partner. There are ways for you to come to these classes and learn solo. If so, reach out to myself or Jen, um, so that we can kind of talk you through what to expect. We'll get you the exact date, but we're looking at sometime in March.
Mhm.
It'll be $22 a class, which is just like since you it's per class. So if you have a friend, that's $11 a piece.
Mhm.
And then yeah, it should probably 45 minutes to an hour.
I
Um,
would say roughly an hour.
yeah, roughly an hour. I think
Yeah.
we're gonna start with like once a month
Mhm.
and then go on to more frequent if they're, if we're feeling good about things and we have and that's what you guys want. But I'd say Jen is creating what women want in self-defense, and that is a place where they learn about safety in a safe environment.
Mm,
Which
yeah.
uh,
Where you're believed, where you're respected, where you're safe, and, you don't have to worry about, especially virtually. I
yeah,
mean, right? You don't have to worry about being harmed at all.
right, yeah,
So yeah, I encourage you, even if you don't train jujitsu, I encourage you to find a friend. The way that I teach is I'm always teaching with somebody in the room who knows absolutely nothing. So I am not just teaching to advanced students. I'm gonna teach like you've never seen this technique before. And if you can't find a partner, you can still benefit. You can learn a lot from watching, but there's also going to be a lot of drills and stuff that we can do.
mhm,
But I'm also going to be talking about just self-defense philosophies and the psychology behind predators and
mhm.
survival strategies and things that are very important, that we can kind of dive a little bit deeper into women's self-defense during those
Right.
classes.
And it will be, I imagine, obviously there's a teaching effort. We have a second degree black belt instructor, and she will be our teacher and our guide. There will be opportunities for us to share and commiserate and kind of have a back and forth. So it won't just be you staring at
Yes.
watching Jenn go through the moves for an hour.
Right. If you
Um,
have a question, I will
yeah,
answer questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's community.
Mhm.
It's the community. Jenn is so passionate about community, and she is building the community that she believes in for you, the women, that she has always wanted. And so she's creating this space for you, and we will be bringing it live in the Oklahoma and Texas areas. We're starting virtually because we're kind of starting where we can, and we're going to build from there. And we hope you will join us. I'm super excited about this. And I think I I think there's so much good that we can create together. And so I would just invite anybody to be part of this community. I will say that, like, I personally am very new to this. Um, Jenn is such a great teacher, though, and is so welcoming and so understanding, and she really gets on your level and teaches at your level wherever you're at. And so, for example, Jenn and I have sparred, and she's not coming at me with the full force and knowledge of 17 years of second degree black belt.
Yeah.
She is coming to, like, on my level as someone very new, who's just learning things and doesn't have this kind of muscle memory in my body. And so that is what she will bring to you all as well. And so, um, it kind of feels weird to me. I'm kind of thinking, like, I spent a whole lot of time being kind of snippy and lecturing people, and now I'm inviting people in. I hope you understand that I'm talking to certain people with the tough love, certain groups who continue to kind of support really dangerous systems and hierarchies and people in power. Um, and I am also, and then also speaking to those of us who have been hurt by them and who don't feel safe and want a community of safety and camaraderie and real growth. And so I hope that comes across.
Yes. Yeah. Because it took me a long time after I left the gym that I grew up in. Basically, I was there for 13 years, co-owner. When I made the decision to leave and go out on my own, it took me 3 years to open up my own jujitsu gym, which we all know got sabotaged. But I had tried different places, and I was just, I was made to feel like I didn't belong. And so when I opened up my gym, June 2024, my thought was, what I want in jujitsu doesn't exist. So I have to create it
Yeah,
myself.
yeah,
And
and you
that's
got
what I was trying to do.
yeah,
And I was actually still teaching men at that time, but I really truly believe that women need a safe space, to where it's just
yep,
us.
yep.
Because I've been training jujitsu, I've been in the community for 17 years. I'm a second degree jujitsu black belt, and I do not feel safe and I do not feel comfortable training in this jujitsu community at all.
Yep. And I will actually say you weren't trying, you were succeeding in this. It was you were at, like, your her haven, your
Oh
women's.
yeah,
This was something because you were succeeding, it was sabotage.
correct.
You
Be-
weren't just trying, you were succeeding in this. You were creating. And you may have had this is me now, Jen. This is me now just talking to Jen, y'all. Yeah.
Mind
So,
your business.
you may have had a pretty hefty roadblock, but that doesn't mean that you weren't already creating and won't continue to create. Yeah, we've got to figure out how to get around these boulders. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not dismissing or diminishing um the real pain and loss and frustration and grief you have around about really coming smack, like, slamming right into that boulder. But I do know that we will get around that, and that you will continue to, like, in that you'll just look like it'll just flourish even stronger.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's a term in rock climbing, it's called the crux. So in rock climbing, um, rock climbers have roots that kind of prescribed routes they do to get to top of whatever the thing is. And the crux in any route, there's usually a one particular area that is, regardless of how difficult the route is, there's always one spot that is the most difficult part of it, and it's called the crux. It's either really difficult to hold on to, like the grips aren't really there. It requires a lot of finesse in terms of like body movements, whatever. Um, and so I believe you're at the crux.
Hmm. Okay.
So once you get over the crux in rock climbing, once you get over the crux,
Mhm.
you're smooth sailing.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So,
I'll take it. Thank you. I didn't see that going to rock climbing. No, just to that angle.
right?
Yeah.
All my metaphors are like
Oh, that's cool.
rock climbing.
It took a minute because I'm like trying to follow along, and I'm like, wait, you can't make
right. right. So yeah, it's either a rock climbing metaphor or like a trail running metaphor, like you know, and
No, I get it. Yeah, yeah.
mile.
No, I wholeheartedly believe that because like on some days it's very difficult to see
It is
anything
because
because I am,
you're in the thick of it. You're
I'm
still trying to
still in the
climb
thick
over the
of it.
boulder.
Yeah, and it's like being stuck in the mud. That's what it feels like, and you're trying to, you know, regain your footing, and then it's like, okay, I'm getting out of this big mud hole, but I'm so covered in mud, and all my clothes are, and it's hard to what is it? It's hard to see
The
forest
forest
for
of
the
the
trees.
trees. Yep.
Yeah, and but thanks to you reminding me of these things, and also if I can just go back and remind myself of the things that I created when I was under such
Mm.
extreme distress, when I was being tortured, when I was being, sabotaged, when my name was being smeared, when I had no money, when I didn't have a home, when I didn't have a job,
Mhm.
like the things that I was able to create back then, and to go forward to think that one day I won't have those barriers,
Yes.
what I can create then, right? If I can get through what's it called?
The crux.
The crux, you know, then I truly believe in this vision of being able to create a safe space for women.
Well, I mean, think what you were creating in your gym when you like your best friend and your dad had just died.
Yeah, yeah. I opened, yeah, yeah. So I opened in June. She was coming up there every single Saturday. She was helping me. She was getting to know the students, and she was so, 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 so proud of me. And I opened June. July, she's diagnosed with cancer, and by the end of August, she had passed away. And I had to keep my business open, running. I was teaching all the classes. I was teaching 3 different programs, kids classes, age 5 and up,
Mhm.
men, women, and children.
Mhm.
And then I would leave there and I would go and I would caretake for her the rest of the time. And I did that for uh like 8 weeks straight. And then of course after she passed, like I took 2 days off for the funeral. By Monday, I was back. I just opened my business. I'm trying to build my clientele. These people are depending on me. I couldn't skip a beat, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I was still having to grieve and process and do all that, for the first year of my business that I end up
Right.
having to close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So think about all the beauty you've been able to create in the world. Um, like you said, under duress or grief or like, all the things weighing you down. And then just think about once it's all,
Said and done.
yeah, once you get to the top and you can unclip, this is also, once you get to the top and you know for sure and you unclip
hmm
and you don't have the rope on it anymore, you
And
don't
you're
have,
free.
and you're free.
I love that.
Mhm.
Um, I since Shan did get brought up, I just kind of want to bring this up briefly. But Shan had this like she was joyful every day. She didn't have a bad day, and she suffered more than any human that I've ever known, physically, right? She had cancer 4 times. She never skipped a beat. Like, her joy, her love, everything never wavered, every single day. And I just remember even on her deathbed when her body was torturing her, right? And she was just love and pure joy the whole time, and I'm like, how is she doing this? How does she do this? How does she find so much joy and love through all of this pain? And to be honest, I figured it out just the other day.
Oh, we are this friends and relatives. We are hearing. I can't wait to hear this.
So because I'm thinking, because I'm like, because I was thinking, I'm like, what is life going to feel like when I get out of this place? Because if I'm ever to be able to get back on my own and have my own home again or my own jujitsu gym, like I don't, the amount of joy that I think that I'm going to be able to feel, like the contrast. So it's like she went through cancer 3 times. She went through like absolute just hell. So anything, like you know what I mean? Like just anything other than that was
Like
just,
a good day.
it was a good day and she found joy in it, but she had to go through so much pain and so much suffering just to find that joy and find that unwavering, spirit that she
You,
had.
but you have to have a comparison.
You have to have a comparison. And I also think it goes back to people wanting to be comfortable all the time. You want to be comfortable all the
Of
time.
course,
Okay, that's great. You're not gonna grow. You're not gonna be able to
stagnate. You're going to
you're
stagnate.
gonna stagnate,
Yes.
right? And a lot of people
Comfortability is stagnation.
yeah, and you wanna you wanna be happy and joyful and, all this stuff all the time. Well, you can't have that unless you go through,
You know,
pain.
that
Yeah.
brings up I've been a trail runner for years. I did a 50K, which is 31.5 miles. I trained for it through a Texas summer, which is unpleasant. And I will say this again, not anywhere near on the scale of going through cancer, but being uncomfortable out in the woods for hours by yourself, hot and sweaty, or getting rained on, or um, bugs biting you, or
All of the above.
dehydration and feet hurt and blisters and da da da. It really made you like, if I'm feeling bored in my life, I will go out on a really long run. I need to feel discomfort to appreciate a hot shower and a
Right.
meal and air conditioning. And like, it really makes you, when you're uncomfortable, it makes you appreciate the comfort more. Like, I think you should not have too much comfort in your life.
I agree.
I like comfort, but it stops being comfort when you don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
You have to have discomfort to appreciate the comfort.
Mhm. I agree. And that's, we we just wanna be comfortable all the time so we don't do hard things
Yeah.
because hard things make us uncomfortable.
Right.
It's the same thing in jujitsu. That's why a lot of people don't train jujitsu is because it's uncomfortable. It's a close contact sport, right? And especially, you know, with the environment that we have, but there are places that are not toxic and
Mhm.
unhealthy, and there are safe
Right.
jujitsu schools out there, but
And even those, the process is still
it's still
uncomfortable because you're, you've got people that are sitting on your chest or your
yeah,
face,
they're
or
in
like,
between your legs,
right,
you're on top of somebody.
you're struggling to
You're
get out of a hole.
you're like, it's really weird for me to just touch her face, right? But it's like we touch each other's
Right.
faces, like heads, like
Right.
arms, elbows, like
I've accidentally touched her boobs.
people have done that all the time. But in jujitsu, you just kind of get used to it. So the saying in jujitsu is become comfortable in the uncomfortable positions. So there's no such thing as comfortable
Or no,
positions. Wait,
or no
become
such thing as uncomfortable.
uncomfortable positions. Yeah. So if you're comfortable in all the uncomfortable positions, right? That's what you're striving to do. So
Mhm.
if you're ever caught at the bottom of a fight in a bad situation, it's not comfortable to you because you've been there before. You've
Right.
done it.
Know how to get out of
But
it.
you can't get comfortable there unless you put yourself there and
When you're uncomfortable.
when you're uncomfortable.
When you don't know how, and you've got to figure it out, you've got to
Correct.
train, and it's not natural.
Yes. And
Most of
that's
us
how
don't grapple a lot in our lives, generally speaking.
no, you really don't. Yeah. Especially
Wrestling
women.
right? Especially women.
Yeah, it's just we don't do that, and to do that with total strangers, because in the beginning they're total strangers, right? It's so uncomfortable, but like how are you going to achieve these things that you want, joy, happiness, whatever, if you're not willing to be uncomfortable. And, I think that's why a lot of people don't want to take accountability and admit that they're wrong because it's uncomfortable. But guess what? You're going to grow from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will also say, I'll just reiterate, it may seem like taking accountability or saying, "I looked up this person, that is wrong," like, will be negative. History, there's so many examples in history, in our modern times today, it you will be on the right side of things, and you will be looked at as the person, the good side.
Yeah.
Um, that has proven
You got
true.
tricked. You're tricked.
Right.
It's okay to admit that.
And it's okay to say, now that I know I was tricked, I don't wanna be part of that anymore.
Hmm.
That is dignity, and that is, being a good person, and that is real growth, and that is, humility, and there's a difference between humility and humiliation. And humility, like, in being, there's it will be uncomfortable for a moment. There will be discomfort, but in the end, only good things will come from it.
Yeah. And you have to decide, which side of history do you want to be on? It's simple as that. Which side do you want to be on? A lot of people say, well, I don't choose sides. Oh, well, when you stay silent and you don't choose a side,
You
you
choose the side of the oppressor.
exactly, you
Yes.
have just chosen your side.
Yes.
Because the longer we look away, stay silent, the you're siding with the people doing the harm because what you're telling them is it's okay.
Right.
You can keep doing it.
Right.
I'm going to look over here.
Yes.
I don't care that you're hurting those people over there. So they're going to
It's not
continue.
how life works.
Yeah.
Sorry, like, I'm
And
sorry, it's
that's
just not how life
why
works.
all this stuff is escalating. And the longer we look away from it, the longer we stay silent, the closer and closer it's going to get to each and every one of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
My God, that's a good point. You're absolutely right.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right. And we are going to make some good trouble, and we are going to, in the midst of all this personal discomfort and unrest, nationwide discomfort and unrest, global discomfort, unrest, we are going to do what we can to create real community and
Mhm.
real positivity and real connection. And we want you to join us because we believe in
Mhm. You. We want you.
you. Maybe I'll see if the thing will let me put on a little, like, military, that old military poster, "We want you."
Yeah,
I'll see
with
if
the hat.
yes. See if I can find it. We'll find out, I guess, when it gets posted.
Oh, that's great. Yes. Yeah, we're at the ground roots of trying to create this community of like-minded, supportive people. So if you're listening and you want to be a part of it, find us on social media, like, share, follow,
Yeah. I
tell your
always
friends
put
about us. So
I
if
always
you know
put
a
links.
woman or
Yep.
someone who needs this in their life, this kind of community, or they want to learn jujitsu or art or yoga or anything like that, please send them our way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Alright, cool. I think that was cool.
I think so. Yeah,
Alright.
that was a good
Thanks.
one.
Thanks, guys. We
Mhm.
appreciate you listening in. Like she said, I'll put all the links to everything in the show notes. We're easy to find. Otherwise, until then, we'll see you next week.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.